Hey everybody, this is Roland Pruitt, and this is my Kaiju review, number 7. We're doing King Kong versus Godzilla on this particular episode, and I'm very excited because we have two very special guests. One of them is Ramon Flores, who is known as Kaiju.Kombat on Instagram. The other one is the movie star from King Kong Escapes, the Toho film. So she knows a lot about King Kong, and that is Linda Jo Miller. So let's go ahead and bring them up along with Dr. Wallnott. And of course, Anastasia is somewhere on board as well.
Hello.
Hi, good to be on here. Good to be on here.
Yeah.
So this, I believe, is the first time that Linda Jo Miller has actually commented on the other Kong movie from Toho. So we're real excited to hear what she thinks about it. And of course, this is your favorite movie, is it not, Ramon, from the Toho canon?
It's definitely one of my favorites, and this is actually the film that got me introduced to the franchise. So I've said this, quite a bit. I owe so much thanks to this movie because without me watching this film, I would not be the person I am today. So King Kong versus Godzilla. Thank you for making me the man I am today.
Wow, that's pretty profound.
I think a lot of people started with this one. This is one of the most popular ones from the U.S., and we're doing the U.S. version by John Beck in our timeline. And again, the Godzilla from this film, 1962, when it was shot, is the Godzilla from the old Aurora model kits that we all had when we were kids. So it's got a place on a lot of people's heart but Godzilla was a bad guy back then. This was he was a baddie. So, let's go ahead and get into our timeline. They changed the music in the Universal International version. I like the opening theme that they used for this. Even though I'm a big even though I'm a big Akira Ifukube fan, this particular soundtrack was not one of his better ones, I don't think. I think the Kong theme is kind of almost comical. And the Kong theme from King Kong Escapes was much more powerful, and I mean
it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
He had much better themes in King Kong Escapes than he did in this one.
Yeah.
And again, producer John Beck. I like the footage that they added, the American footage that they added to this with Eric Carter, played by Michael Keith, and Harry Holcomb is an expert, and he has the infamous scene where he says Godzilla's brain is the size of a pea. Kong's brain is 10 times the size of a
definitely.
So a lot of Godzilla fans didn't like that.
Oh no, every time you bring that thing up, everybody gets all so defensive. It's like, relax, it's just a movie, it's just for fun. That's all it is.
Well, the point was that Godzilla is brute instinct, and again, he was the bad guy in this film, so that's why they did that.
Yeah.
Wasn't in one of these kaiju films, wasn't there one where Godzilla's brain was described as being that of a bird? I seem to recall that. He had a bird brain. I think it was Godzilla 2000, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, is that it? I know this scene with Harry.
I don't remember that, but anyway.
That does sound familiar. I feel like I've heard that somewhere. I think somewhere in the Heisei continuity, but I could be wrong. It sounds like Heisei or Millennium for sure.
Because they were trying to say that it was going someplace by instinct, like birds, returning.
84, 85.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Godzilla Returns.
Yep.
There's Keith is Eric Carter, a United Nations reporter. Evidently, United Nations has their own news branch. But hell, if they can get us election results right now.
Exactly. I've got TV on in the foreground, I guess, while we're talking. So isn't it interesting that the United Nations seems to appear in more than one Kong or Godzilla film.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're also in Destroy All Monsters as well, and
Mhm.
I think they're in a couple of other Toho films. They were fascinated by that, I guess.
Yeah.
This is Mr. Taco, who has his own company. He's played by Ichiro Iwashima. This was the only Godzilla movie he ever did. And his character is so memorable. Everybody who watched this film when they were a kid remembers Mr. Taco. Very comical, him and his group, his band. And they're talking about their station is not doing well, and they need something for like an ad campaign to boost their ratings. And this Dr. Achino has brought back some berries from an island called Faroe Island. And on this island, there's supposedly a giant monster, but they don't know what it is. They don't know what kind of monster it is. So he's like, hey, I want my guys to go to this island and bring back a monster. Great idea.
Great for ratings.
Because nothing could possibly go wrong, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Not in his mind.
No. Just pick up a giant monster. You'll be all right. We'll be good to go.
These two guys, Osamu Sakurai, played by Tadao Takashima, who's still with us, and Kinsburo Furu, played by Fujika. I'm sorry, my bad. We're trying to keep the show for family, folks.
You're doing okay.
It's all good. It's all good. You're doing good.
Since when?
Yeah, there's our
Stay.
in case we flip up, in case we flip like
He
that.
was discretion is advice.
To
I love
protect
it.
our rear ends.
Nope.
So at Sakurai's house, his sister is making a steak dinner for her boyfriend and him. She gives him a bigger steak than her brother. And Kenji Sahara plays the boyfriend, which is Kazuo Fujita. Fujita has a giant, a very small wire, actually, that is the strength of, wow, it's just really strong. And he says, hey, let me show it to you. And
Does
does a thing outside the window. He's like, hey, you're not Tarzan. Come on, come back in. That's the one thing about these earlier Godzilla films that are dubbed in English. They all sound like George Takei. Hey, don't do that. Come on, stay inside.
Well, we're not going to talk about dubbing now, are we? That's a sore subject with me.
That's a sour subject with Linda.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
no.
indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, you did not like the dubbing. You liked the actress that did your Japanese dubbing.
Yes, yeah, I did, but
you didn't
not
like
the American.
But you didn't like Kong, King Kong.
Oh God! Oh, I eat and sleep on this ship.
See, I always knew something was off about that. I was like, I don't think that's actually her saying that. I mean,
Oh,
that definitely has to be dubbed.
Yeah.
And then I found many years later, I'm like, wow, now I need to see the Japanese cut.
Actually, it is her screaming, though. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right. In King Kong Escapes and in the Green Slime, when I'm screaming, it's actually my scream.
She is one of the first screen queens.
Yes,
queens.
yes, even before Jamie Curtis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not worthy. Not worthy.
So there he is. Kenji Sahara is still with us, I believe. He's the only actor to ever be in a Gamera film and Godzilla films.
Is that the guy on the right?
He's the one that's outside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because the guy on the right was very, very popular when I lived in Japan. I'd see his posters in the subways and, in the malls and stuff. So he was very popular.
Yeah, but they were both popular at the time. But yeah, in the early '60s, he's in a lot of the Godzilla stuff. He's in some Godzilla 2 as well, and he's in Atragon. I hope I said that right. We're doing that one on the show next week. I better get it right. And which is 1963, and he's like you said, he's a very popular actor at the time, I'm guessing.
Yeah, he was.
So then we get to the Seahawk, which is a submarine. Evidently, there's icebergs breaking up, and drifting down towards Japan. And it's kind of a strange anomaly, considering the waters in the Pacific are not that cold. And they're going to check it out. And there's a couple of dignitaries on board. I'm not sure why, but the commander of the ship, he's baffled by it all, and they're getting close to an iceberg that is glowing. They're wondering what's that all about.
That's never a good sign.
No.
If the iceberg is glowing, yeah, it might be a problem. Some of the iceberg breaks off and damages the propeller, and there's no way to fix it. So they have to send out the SOS, and there's like an ink marker thing that they release. And as they are doing that, fire comes from the roof, and we hear the roar of Godzilla.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I love these two guys in the helicopter flying overhead. And they're playing, hey, what is that, Al? And again, it's the iceberg, and there's a yellow marker around it from where the Seahawk, and they see Godzilla coming out of the iceberg. And this was the only scene, I think, that Haru Nakajima did not play Godzilla in this film.
Really?
He's digging out. I read that somewhere where he's digging out of the iceberg at somebody else. But you've Nakajima-san. And King Kong is played by Shuichi Hirose. So, but this guy, they see Godzilla when he's clawing his way out of the iceberg, and he's like, "Oh, it's Godzilla!" Little overreaction.
Well, there he is.
Such a great shot.
I love this entrance. Godzilla has two fantastic entrances. This is one of them. They were both when he was a bad guy. The other one is in the next movie, which is Mothra versus Godzilla, where his tail sprouts up out of the ground and then he comes up out of the ground.
That's another iconic, entrance.
Great entrances. By the way, we were talking about the 62 Godzilla, the style of the Godzilla. Looks more lizard-like. This is, and I know you have yours. Yours is X Plus. This one is the NECA fully posable version. And Linda will like this. We both got the original King Kong.
All right, let me go. Yeah, here we go.
Oh, there we go. I've got one of those too.
Okay, now.
Yeah.
I hope you got one of these, because this is the King Kong Escapes version.
No, I don't think I have that one.
This one's actually much shorter, believe it or not.
Oh, it is. Look at that. That's not right. That's not right.
Only 3 vendors had them at this year's G Fest, and every time I try to get my hands on one, gone.
Wow.
I was like, all right, cool.
Talk to me after the show.
Almost. Okay.
I'm liquidating my collection. I might be going back to China soon. So
okay.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing.
Okay, if you say so.
So in any case, this is a great entrance. He's Godzilla, and the guy on the left looks like a friend of mine, Steve Anderson. He used to be a stand-up comic. Looks just like him. So we go back to Eric Carter, and he's like, it's amazing. Dinosaurs are roaming in even today's time. And then we get Dr. Shibuzawa, played by Akihiko Harata. Akihiko Harata was, of course, Dr. Serizawa in the first Godzilla movie with the Oxygen Destroyer. And he's just about everywhere. I mean, he's in the Toho films all over the place. This again is another great iconic shot with the tracer fire coming out to Godzilla in the huge tank. They're using the tank there that they used in Toho, but with icebergs, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the Godzilla puppet head.
That puppet.
Yes.
And he's burning up the tanks. This was back when Godzilla was very radioactive still. After Ghidorah, the three-headed Monster Zero, I guess, was the last time they actually referred to the radiation. And then we have the toy tanks hauling Boogie, getting out of there. There's no way we're going to beat this. Get out of here. Run away.
Run for your life.
Yeah, yeah, we're done. There's no point. So much for the bait. Bye.
And there he is. Oh,
there he is.
Got the glowing
fiery
back pins. Yeah.
I like the blue. The blue's pretty.
Yep.
Yeah. This last film, they turned him pink for some reason, and a lot of fans didn't like that. But yeah, the blue is the classic. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
And in Godzilla -1, the spines of his back actually pop out of his back, and then he fires like it's a trigger or something.
I just saw the re-release -1 not too long ago, and it is just so good. So good.
It's good Godzilla. There's no doubt.
No, absolutely. As good as it gets.
So this is another reporter, a Japanese reporter. His name is Yutaka Omura, played by James Yagi. And again, they're talking about how devastating it is to have Godzilla in this day and time. And he's a fire-breathing dragon, which makes it even worse. And Taco is talking to his men. And again, they're the two guys on his right, his two assistants, they are also actors from Toho that have done a lot of this stuff. They're always somewhere.
I think that one guy looks like he's holding something in the middle with the white shirt. I think he was in mine as well.
He was. He was one of the Doctor Who's assistants. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Again, they're like day players. You know, they got a certain amount every week, and they just, okay, you go here. You're going to the Godzilla movie. Okay, you're going over here.
They're like the old studio actors they used to have.
Yeah.
You know, each studio would have their like group of kids or people.
So Sakurai and Faru have made it to the island, Faroe Island, and we meet the chief. Another day actor, a day player. Yoshio Kasugi was the chief. And the Kono, the translator, who's this little guy you're going to see in a minute. And the witch doctor there is also in a lot of Godzilla films. He's Akio Sawamura. And the little guy who's the translator, again, is a day player that's done a lot of characters in these movies as well. His name is Sankichi Amura. Sankichi Amura. So this is where they give the chief the radio. And they're handing out cigarettes. They forgot to bring candy for the kids. And the lightning starts striking, and the natives go ballistic. They go crazy, and Sakurai is like, "Oh, look, it's just the lightning." They're scared of lightning, and then they hear Kong's roar. And it's like, okay, maybe we should get down on our knees with the natives. That's a nice little comic bit. Is
that Hamamiya?
That's Mia.
Oh my goodness.
Mia Hama, and one of my favorites, Akiko Wakabayashi.
They were in some 007 film, right? I don't know which one exactly. Yeah, they were both in one.
They both were, I think.
Yeah.
They were both in You Only Live Twice, but they had to switch roles.
There you go. Yeah.
Because Akiko Wakabayashi spoke better English than Mai Hama. And Mai Hama was about to go to a mountain to, commit suicide because she thought she was going to lose the role in the film, and the director switched the role, so she had she actually was less speaking. She got Kissy Suzuki, which was the blonde girl at the end of the film.
But you know what? I remember her more than I do the other girl.
Yeah.
She stood out more.
Bad girls.
You always remember the bad ones.
In this movie, but she played a lot of bad girls. She's in Atragon, and she's really bad in that. She's a diamond thief, and she's a mom.
I remember that. Yeah, the diamond thief. Yeah.
Girl, she tries to steal the diamonds from the guys and everything. We're going to do that one next week.
Awesome.
But she's in a lot of stuff. Yeah. But her English was much better. So
That's good. That's good.
yeah, but she got killed in You Only Live Twice. She got killed halfway through the picture.
Oh, that's
Yeah. So here's Harry Holcomb talking about, dinosaurs and Godzilla. And I think this might be the infamous scene that we were talking about earlier.
yep, with the dinosaur book.
Mm.
Now this girl who does the infamous dance in the movie, she is also the mother of a child who's very naughty boy. He goes out smoking cigarettes, and he goes out getting some of the berry juice, which is got a narcotic effect. So kid's going down the wrong path. And as she goes to get him in this hut, a giant octopus attacks.
On
Now,
land?
Yes. He
Okay.
slithers up out of the ocean. And he goes over the hut that they're in, and she's screaming, and Kong hears the scream. And you know what happens when Kong hears the scream? He goes to save the girl.
Absolutely.
So I don't know if any of you were aware about this infamous octopus. They actually had 4 on set just to do different shots and
Right.
photos with it. But the sad thing about this is 3 out of the 4 got let go, but one of them got eaten, unfortunately, by Eiji Tsuburaya.
Tsuburaya ate one of them. Yeah. I had heard that there was only one.
Oh my.
Yes.
It was
After
so
they
sad.
did the shot, he ate it for dinner after they did the shots.
Well, actually, octopus is quite tasty.
No, I'm not mad about it. I mean, I'd be like, well, you went for Friday Kong, so now you're going to be my dinner. Come here, you.
What a fitting end.
Little tandoori for dinner. Why not?
So Kong shows up, and we get our first shot, really our first glimpse of Kong. Now, Tsuburaya said that when he was a kid, his father took him to see King Kong, the original King Kong, and that was what actually kind of shaped him into saying, "Hey, I want to do special effects for movies." And but in this picture, in this particular movie, even though Kong is supposed to be the hero, I got this feeling that they were trying to kind of make him comical. Like they were not really respecting him all that much, because he's got this theme song that they created, and he gets drunk here.
Oh yeah, I mean, even as the movie continues to go deeper and deeper, like towards the final battle, you're like, man, they kind of just like they kind of made him like dumb.
However,
yeah,
by the time they got to King Kong Escapes, which is Linda's movie,
yep.
They redid the costume so it looked better. Again, his theme songs were much more heroic sounding and powerful, and they had more respect for him in that. And they created a mechanical Kong double as his
Mechanic Kong.
I mean, he was the first one. Before Mecha Godzilla, they had Mechanic Kong.
Yeah.
So, I should have pulled that figure down too. Anyway. So in this scene, Kong has it out with the octopus. The octopus would show up again in War of the Gargantuas. Actually, before that, Frankenstein, in the original ending for Frankenstein Conquers the World, the octopus attacks Frankenstein and drags him down into the water. And that's how the film ends. But in the American version, they changed the ending.
Yeah, because Henry Saperstein saw this film, and they're like, hey, we need to throw octopus in our movie Frankenstein, so let's go ahead and build an octopus and just have it drag Frankenstein to the bottom of the ocean.
Why not?
Yeah,
make it look like it's trying to kill you.
We see it again in War of the Gargantuas.
Yeah, Gyra got payback for his brother.
So there it is. That's right. The War of the Gargantuas was supposed to be a sequel to Frankenstein Conquers the World, but it ended up changing in the process. I'm sorry. So, Kong looks down, sees his favorite narcotic drink, and after a hard day of wasting octopuses, it's Milla time.
He's like, all right, well, I deserve a drink after that fight. Cheers, guys.
And the natives, they've been to this party before, so they know what to do. Start the music up, guys. And they help him to just collapse, fall out. And that's when Sakurai tells Faru, "Hey, we're taking him home. Taco wants a monster. We got a monster."
Oh my gosh.
And there's the infamous dance. She was also in a movie called Half Human, which came out before this. Very interesting dance.
Interesting outfit too.
Yeah. She's got the coconuts.
She sure does.
So I don't know why, but when I was a kid, I always thought King Kong's fur was black for some reason. And the movies now, and it's very brown, almost kind of a reddish brown in some cases.
Kind of a chestnut color.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that you had actually seen Subaraya do some of the special effects for King Kong Escapes.
Yes, I did.
Helicopters lift Kong, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. I just happened, we were between scenes and I was just kind of roaming around the lot, and I just walked into one of the sound stages and kind of, huge sound stage. And they had like a platform and all these tiny little trees and tiny everything. And so when you kind of stooped down and looked, you could imagine, and it looked really real. And then I saw the scene where Kong had been gassed and they had, the helicopter was picking him up and flying him away. And I watched them film that, and it was really fascinating because it looked so real.
Now,
and it was very impressive.
The old man,
can we imagine?
The old man who's on the island there.
Yes.
He is the one who was the witch doctor in this film.
Oh, okay.
His name is Ikio Sawamura.
Sawamura? Okay.
Yeah. And he was actually in the Toho films up through Terror of Mechagodzilla. He's actually got a part in Terror of Mechagodzilla. He plays an assistant. And then he passed before they got into the Heisei series. But again, he again, character actor. If you look somewhere, he's somewhere in just about all of the Toho films. From the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
So Kong is being put on a giant raft, and they're gonna take him back to Tokyo. And Faru, whose corns have been bothering him, is like, "Are we going to do this? Are we really going to do this?" Yeah, we're going to do this. I'm paraphrasing, but
we figured it.
So Harry Holcomb was also in, and I only know this from watching the Big Monster Briefing Room, which is another show that we do on this channel. He was in Empire of the Ants. He plays the husband of an old couple, and unfortunately, they do. Him and his wife get eaten by ants, giant ants.
Oh no!
Yes,
that would be horrible.
Yeah.
Definitely a crowning jewel in Joan Collins' career.
Okay, I remember seeing that movie. It creeped me out. All the ants and everything, and then falling on in the river, and ants falling on the leaves, and then traveling down. Anyway, they were trying to drown the ants, but anyway,
I got to check that out then.
It's a good movie. I liked it.
All right, say no more. If she loves it, that's all I need to know.
Well, beware.
Beware.
Yeah.
No. It's one of those films that's so bad it's fun. It's good.
Exactly.
Yeah. They spent their time talking about Joan Collins' dirty butt because she got dirt all over her white pants. Anyway, so Kong is being dragged behind this boat on a giant raft. How they built the raft so quickly, I'm not sure, because it's huge.
Or how they even get him on the ramp is another question.
And that too.
Yeah.
They didn't have helicopters there with them.
And why would the natives allow them to take him away?
That's a good point.
There's In every other Kong film, the natives were always like, "Why are you taking our god?" But
Yeah.
it's like, "Yep, yeah, we're just gonna
just
one off with him," you know.
Just take him.
We'll say,
just bring him back in time for dinner. He'll be all right. Go have fun.
well, if you're native, it's
Let
like,
him
oh, we
sleep
don't
it off.
worry about the guy smashing our place up anymore. Okay, no problem. Take him away.
Well, that's true.
But,
Yes,
but I have to
Yeah.
say, this is the first time that in a Kong film that they didn't have a giant gate to keep Kong out with a giant fence to keep Kong out with a gate that lets him in. I don't know why they do that in the other Kong films. There's a giant fence. Okay, keep him out, but you got a gate that he's big enough for him to come through. Wait a minute. So, all right. So
they have to get the virgins in there somehow.
But again, next to the big gate, always a little gate that they take the girls through. So okay, Taco flies his way in. Banzai!
I'm sorry, I can't take somebody named Taco seriously. I
know.
No, you have to go with it. It's Taco Tuesday. Okay.
I suppose, yes. That's it. There you go.
It is Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday. Now it makes sense.
These guys are both wearing Hawaiian shirts for no apparent reason, so just go with it. And he's looking like Groucho Marx with the pit helmet. I shot a Godzilla in my pajamas. So okay, let's go back to the slide. The one previous. Okay, the Coast Guard shows up and says, "Hey, what the hell are you doing? You can't bring a kaiju, close to Tokyo. What's wrong with you? So we're not going to let you bring him in. You will be held accountable, and you're under arrest if you do. And yeah, you can't do it." So Mr. Taco is very upset. He doesn't know what to do because there goes his ad campaign.
But then
That's so funny.
But then, funny enough, when he escapes, they don't arrest him. They don't do nothing. It's like, just have a good day. It's all good.
Now, Fujita comes home, and Akiko Wakabayashi's character is shocked to see him because they had read that his plane crashed. So they think he's dead. And his girlfriend, Sakurai's sister, she's actually going to Hokkaido on a train to see if she can find out anything she can about, his plane and maybe what, find him. So he's like, no, I missed my plane. My boss kept me working. And she's like, oh my God, she's going to Hokkaido. And then the little kid shows up. I'm surprised I didn't put a slide for that because the kid is really annoying and memorable. I want to go see Godzilla. I was like, no, honey, we're not going to see Godzilla. We're not going to Hokkaido. That's where we don't want to go. And he's like, oh, gee, she's going to Hokkaido. I better go. So sure enough, the train is heading right for Godzilla's foot. And, the train stops suddenly, hits that poor little girl's head. And again, that's my Hama on the right.
That's quite a hat she has on.
Yeah, looks like a furry garbage can. Tipped upside down. Anyway, the fashion at the time, so they get off the train and Godzilla is coming and he's very close and he's radioactive. So they're trying to get as far from the train as they can before he, steps on it, because that's what Godzilla does. He steps on trains, eats trains. So she's out there, and just as she's like making her way across a little stream there, I don't know how he finds her, but Fujita finds her. Love conquers all.
Yep.
And he's in like a military grade Jeep too. So he pops her in the Jeep, and they back up into some woods there, and Godzilla passes by. And she's very happy to see him, that he's not dead.
Yeah.
And Godzilla passes by.
Not a great shot.
Now Kong starts to wake up, and there's no hair of the dog that bit him, so they don't know what to do. So
he's in a bad mood.
Me, when I get up to go to work.
By the way, this is my new cup. It's got Kong on one side, Godzilla on the other.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
I just got it yesterday.
Oh,
Thank
nice.
Sponsored by Amazon.
Everything's sponsored by Amazon.
So we have a little funny shtick there with Taco pulling out his little umbrella because Kong is sloshing around in water everywhere. And Faru is like, you're a dumbbell. We're in this situation with the great comeback, dumbbell? You're wearing a red Hawaiian shirt. You're a dumbbell. So they decide to shoot the dynamite that's on the because he accidentally hits the plunger and it doesn't blow up the thing. They have a fight there and he hits the plunger and it doesn't blow up the dynamite. So they shoot the dynamite with a rifle and it blows it up. And of course, that's not going to kill King Kong. It's just going to, upset him.
It's going to make him mad.
Piss him off, which it does.
Yes,
So,
you don't want a giant ape, a hungover ape, mad at you. Like,
with a bad attitude.
That's with a bad attitude. That's not a good idea.
What's
all this noise?
That freaking shot.
They didn't have a cup of coffee big enough, so they had to put him in some cold water.
I'll wake you up.
We got to straighten you out somehow, you big lug. So Kong gets ashore just about where Godzilla is roaming, and they go, okay, they're going to meet. This is going to happen. We're going to have a fight, boxing match. And look how stealth Godzilla looks here. Man, he looks good in this film. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kong moves forward hesitantly. and these guys get close to the action. Peru's going to film and Taco's there and he's going to take bets on the match. And I never realized it until just now, but his little assistant from the office is over on his right shoulder there. I never realized that he's in this scene.
Mm.
Is that he looks like the fellow who's in Barney Miller.
What's his name? Actor's name is Woo.
Woo.
It's not John Woo, that's the director. James Woo?
James, yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that.
He does kind of look like him in the face. So Kong's puffing his chest out. Godzilla's like, what the hell is this? And the minute a helicopter flies by and Godzilla zaps it with his atomic breath, Kong does an incredible blink take here. Like what? What?
Huh?
Is this what I'm up against? And, Kong is smart. He's not stupid. But it's like, people are watching. I got to look cool. So, yeah, he moves forward and Godzilla zaps at his feet. Godzilla's actually cool about it. He's not going to zap him in the chest or anything. He just zaps him in the feet. But he gets burnt a little bit on the chest. You see a little smoldering. And it's like, oh, no, that's not fair. Fight him.
And I love the thing when he just like looks at his like chest or stomach and he's just like looking at it. Then he looks up. He's like, does like the sidewalk.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, that.
He's kind of brushing it off, but it still stings. And Taco flips a coin and it comes up the wrong side for Kong. It's like Godzilla's going to win. Uh-oh. So here Godzilla does a little happy dance where he's clapping. I like that.
Yeah.
He knows he's got the best of him. And the military is like, God, we got two of these things now. The general is Jun Tazaki. Again, plays a lot of generals and scientists in these films. Got that mustache. He's in a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Again, usually it's a general or a scientist. He's got that look about him. So they have a plan. Kong walks away. By the way, he just goes, I'm not going up against the flamethrower. Sorry, I'm out of here. So they make a plan to dig a big pit that Godzilla will hopefully fall into, and they're going to fill it with gasoline and dynamite, and they're just going to try to blow him up. And again, you'd think they would have learned their lesson by now, but no.
Nope.
So they're going to expend all of this energy. It takes them half a day to build this.
It always just fascinating that they were okay. tanks don't work, helicopters don't work, guns and missiles don't work. So why not just dig a hole, hope he falls into it, explode him? That's
And
a
blow 'em
sure way
up.
to stop him. Blow him up. Yeah, what could possibly
Brilliant.
go wrong?
Exactly.
Get this straight. Planes with missiles, yeah, they just bounce off of him.
Surely if we dig a hole and we explode him, that'll work.
Not one of our smarter generals, I guess.
No.
So he does fall into the hole. By the way, a lot of people know the theme songs from The Creature of the Black Lagoon
Yep.
very well. And they use that ad nauseum in the middle of this movie because I guess they just didn't. I guess John Beck, the producer, just didn't like Ifukubi's score. Just didn't think it was exciting enough. So yeah, he went back into the vault and got those themes, those bits for these scenes. Dun, 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 dun.
Speaking of Creature of the Black Lagoon, in 2016 I did Monsterpalooza in Pasadena, and when I first walked in the door, on the left was Julie Adams from Creature of the Black Lagoon.
Wow!
Yeah. So she was sitting there, and I went, because I was new to conventions at the time, and I was just like, "Wow, look who's here!" You know, and she looked great. I think she was in her 90s, maybe, but she looked great, and she was smiling and happy, and people were lined up to get her autograph, and it was really cool.
Because she knew how to rock a white bathing suit. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah,
she's one of my favorite Universal, up there with Evelyn Ankers. She's one of my favorite Universal girls. She looks great in that film all the way through it.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Awesome. What since we're talking about conventions, what conventions you got coming up in the near future so people can look for you?
Oh, that's a good question. I've got one in February coming up in Akron, Ohio, and then I've got one in the end of May in Brooklyn. It's Brooklyn Kaiju, I think.
Brooklyn
yeah, and
Kaiju
then
Brooklyn.
Kaiju Brooklyn. Okay, then I've got two others that we're talking about in Idaho and Reno, but those aren't confirmed yet.
Oh,
so knock on wood.
Idaho, I feel like potatoes, but
Idaho is beautiful.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Reno, you can play a little casino action. So, by the way, this woman should be in a Monarch project. Seriously.
Yeah.
Bless you.
You should be in one of these Monarch movies as a King Kong authority.
Yep.
Yeah.
You are the authority on Kong. You really are.
I totally agree with you, of course. And we're trying.
Yep.
We're trying.
There was
the fan-made videos, and they look great. And I think it would be a wonderful thing if you could get something in those projects.
Yeah.
Be great.
Yeah.
From your lips to God ears.
Yep. There was a video going around the community of you doing the message to Monarch, and I shared it on my page, and I signed a petition. Hey, let's get this woman in the MonsterVerse with Kong. Why not? I mean, she deserves it. The fans would love it. I personally would love it. So let's make it happen, folks. If y'all listening and watching this, let's make it happen.
And let's bring.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, and let's bring Mechani-Kong.
Mechani-Kong, yes. We've had Mechagodzilla. Let's bring on Mechani-Kong. Yes.
Yeah.
Here we go. This is like a bad organization creates a Mechani-Kong, and Godzilla and Kong has to fight him. That'd be cool. Anyway, here's the scene where Godzilla comes out of the pit, like, but come on, dusting himself off.
Yeah, completely unharmed.
Da, 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 da. Where's Julie Adams? And they're all like, okay, that didn't work. Let's move on. So they've got a fence around Tokyo. It's an electric fence. And we've established that Godzilla doesn't really like electricity all that much in earlier films. So yeah, he gets zapped a little bit, and he moves to this. He moves around it. which is so it works. But
Woo!
Oh, that hurts.
very zapped. Ouch. Oh man.
Yeah, but doesn't it look great? You know?
Good.
Absolutely.
Looks
Yeah.
good.
You guys are great, yes. But you think all the times that Godzilla has been up against these electric fences that he would learn by now, to avoid the wires.
Just like, let me
you would
touch,
think.
touch.
That's because his brain is the size of a pea. That's
And in the original Godzilla, Gojira, he just melted the fence, said,
Yep.
I'm going through
Yeah.
here.
yes.
So he didn't do it this time though, but that's because they wanted Kong to go through it. Which he does. So
You just
yeah,
look
he
at it
moved
like, what do I do here? Do I go this way? Go this way? Where am I going? What do I do?
on. Brain the size of a pea. He moves on. But it's like, hey, they're just when they're giving each other cheers and fist bumps and everything, that's when King Kong comes through and he's like, electricity? Cool. He's
Like,
munching on
great.
wires. Here he comes.
Hey,
I love
wait for me.
I love the run he did in this movie.
Yes. And the close-ups of his feet just crushing people's houses.
Oh, look at that.
He's loving the electricity.
Yep.
What a rush. So he gets into Tokyo. And I can't remember why Sakurai's sister gets on a train. Oh, they're trying to get away. That's what it is. They're trying to get out. And her boyfriend gets cut off from her. She's on the train and the door closes and he doesn't get in. Not like today in Japan where they just shove you with their feet and
Right.
their backs and stuff in the train.
Yeah.
Door closes, you got to wait for the next train. So, yeah, we have that little emotional scene there at the train door where she's got to go without him. And of course, the train heads right into Kong, and he picks it up, and she's the one in the car. So he puts her in his hand. You've been in that situation, Linda.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He looks like he's holding her a little harsher than you. You got held with a lot more tender.
Well, he's had more practice before he got to me.
Well, and you're a blonde. He likes blondes.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
I had a question for that one, but I'll probably say it towards the end of the episode.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so Linda, so you got to actually be held by that giant Kong arm prop.
Yeah.
What was that experience like for you? Because I mean, that had to have been a surreal moment, just being being held by this life-size prop. What was that like for you?
The whole film was a surreal moment for me, actually. Well, it's funny because the hand was gigantic, and I had to get on a ladder to get into it, to sit into it. Excuse me. And it was really hard. Even though it looks hairy, it was really hard because it was made out of metal.
Oh.
And there was a blue screen behind me, and then they would lift his hand up, and I'd have to pretend whatever the script called for at the time.
So there was no padding in the palm of that hand. It was metal.
Not that I recall. And I was thin then, so I didn't have any natural padding either. So it was really hard.
How many hours did
wow.
you have to stay in that thing?
I seemed like I was in there not a long time, but the most thing that was uncomfortable is that it lifted me up, and I'm not a friend of heights. So I'd be up. Yeah. So I'd be up in the air, and I'm thinking, holy crap, what happens if something goes wrong and this thing comes crashing to the ground? There's a couple scenes in Kong where I was up high and I wasn't crazy about it. But at the same time, I was thinking, oh my God, this is what Fay Ray did. And I remember watching Fay Ray as a kid. I'd come home from school and King Kong would be on TV. And a lot of what happened in the movie, I don't want to say I sleepwalked through it, because I didn't, but I was so overwhelmed by everything that it didn't hit me until years later what an incredible experience I had had, you know.
Yeah, you
And
were like a teenager at the time, right?
I'm sorry?
You were a teenager at the time.
I was 19 years old, 19 and a half. Yeah.
Wow.
And the way I came into it, I mean, I had no experience. And Arthur Rankin, just for some unknown reason, said, "You are Susan Watson. I don't care you've never acted. I don't care you have no training. I don't care you don't know what you're doing. You're my Susan Watson." And
wow.
I can't explain it. And I don't know, he was looking for a look, and I guess I had the look that he was looking for.
You had the look.
I had the look. Yeah.
And faith works in mysterious ways.
Sorry?
When you were talking about the heights and being afraid of heights, the tower scene from the end of Escape
Yes.
came to my mind right away. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
The tower.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Because it was on a scaffold. They had set up the scaffold, and it wasn't like on the ground. It was at least 10 feet or higher in the air.
Right.
And I remember Honda-san walking up the ladder and helping me up and then showing me what he wanted to do. And there were no nets or safety gear underneath. It was like, just do it right and you'll be okay. Do it wrong and you'll fall.
Don't look down.
Don't look down. Yeah. Don't look down. Yeah. So if that was probably not the best scene, but one of the best scenes of acting, because I was not acting when I looked afraid. I was afraid.
Truly terrified.
You were genuinely terrified. It's like, what do I grab? What do I hold?
Yes.
What do I do here?
Exactly.
All right.
That's
awesome.
incredible.
Oh man.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So Kong is, I think he steps on top of the Capitol building there in Tokyo. And
the Diet, I believe.
Okay. And they decide to shoot the berry juice over his head, so he sniffs it in. The berry juice somehow. And Sakurai and the guys got the drums and everything, even the same drums that the Islanders used, and they start playing the music to make him go to sleep. And the theme song for the movie, the opening theme song for the movie, is that song, is the chanting that the natives do for the Chinese version of the film, that the natives do. That's the actual opening theme for the movie. And it is used as part of the Godzilla theme in Godzilla -1.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
It's one of the two Godzilla themes. They've got the original Godzilla theme from Ifukube, and they also used a variation of this theme, the Kong theme, where they make him go to sleep.
Interesting.
So yeah. So again, I noticed it. I mean, I recognized it right away when I heard it in the movie theater. And they use it a couple times in the film. Mm-hmm. So there they are playing the drums and speakers with the music coming through, and sure enough, Kong goes out, collapses. Amazingly, he doesn't land on the girl, which is good. and she doesn't fall out of his hand, which is good.
Yeah, that would be disastrous.
Of course, it is a metal hand, so it probably hurt when she came down. Heights, that's amazing. No padding at all. It's just metal. Wow.
Not that I recall.
I don't know how you did it. Oh my God, I'd be so scared.
So
well, they were paying me to do it, so
that's true.
So that was quite an incentive.
There you go.
I'm scared, but I'm getting paid.
History.
Yeah. You're being part of history.
Go down in history as being part of those movies. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So they decide to airlift Kong via balloon. The year before, they had a big balloon scene in the Mysterious Island. So I don't know if that was if that influenced the writer to go, hey, let's lift Kong with a balloon. That's what we'll do. But there's like several yellow balloons that they lift him up with, and they fly him around. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I'm just laughing.
Yeah, I always thought it was kind of weird how they got his right leg lifted up a little high there.
Yeah, I know. I was like, how did they?
Looks very uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, and then I was so mesmerized with the wire that I can't remember the character's name. We just talked about it a little bit ago. I was always fascinated that the wire was that strong enough to hold up Kong, which I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but like, was like walking around like 20, maybe 30,000 metric tons. I don't know. I could be way off. I could be under, over, but I always thought that wire was fascinating. It was that strong.
Fujita's magic wire. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, you're not King Kong. You know. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. So yeah, they fly him to, guess what, folks? Mount Fuji.
Oh yeah, Mount Fuji.
Mount Fuji was a great place for these films to always end up. You know, the big fight's going to be next to or on top of Mount Fuji. So, if you're in Japan, or in in that area, I mean, you could see Mount Fuji from miles away. It's very
beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. So the boys are up in a helicopter watching, and they see Godzilla on the side of the mountain. Not sure why Godzilla is motivated to go to Mount Fuji, because there's really nothing there. I mean, except it's a mountain and it's pretty. But there he is. And then Kong starts to wake up. And he looks down and he sees Godzilla. And he's like, it will. And
oh, God. Like, oh, God. No, not him.
Oh, my God. It's the fire guy. So they cut the ropes. The magical, powerful ropes, they magically cut them somehow. And he slides down the mountain. And
that would hurt with the lava rocks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Poor Kong's behind. And he lands into Godzilla, flipping him over. I always wondered in the Godzilla films when they shot this stuff, how many times those spines on Godzilla's backs like broke.
Oh yeah.
And they had to go up, cut, and fix the spines on his back so they didn't look like they were broke. I don't know why I thought that when I was a kid, but I always thought that. I was like, I bet those are easy to break.
And I'll give credit to Godzilla because taking a headbutt from Kong as he's going down this mountain like full speed.
Yeah.
I know Godzilla had to be seeing stars at some point before he got back up.
Little birdies.
Yeah.
So Kong makes his way around. We're showing that Kong is more intelligent than Godzilla. Kong is making his way around into a little hiding space. And Godzilla comes around and hey, I don't see him. And Kong grabs his tail. He doesn't realize how powerful Godzilla's tail is. And Godzilla flips him immediately. And he's like, oh, you're going to grab my tail? And he flips him. But later, when he grabs Godzilla's tail and he's got electricity coming out of his fingers, Godzilla doesn't have action with the tail. You know, he's stunned like a taser. And we get probably one of the most iconic shots from this film where Kong flips Godzilla around by his tail.
Nope.
And that's coming up in just a minute. Kong throws rocks. That's what he does.
Yeah, he does do that.
Mm-hmm. Originally, Godzilla versus Ebirah, or Godzilla versus the Sea Monster in some places, was originally written for Kong. That's why Godzilla throws rocks in the film.
Yep.
It's because it was originally written for Kong. But they ended up doing King Kong Escapes instead. And put Godzilla into Godzilla versus Ebirah. So,
and then funny thing enough, this
ever threw rocks at stuff.
Yeah. And then funny enough, this was almost going to be a King Kong versus Frankenstein film until John Beck went to Toho with the idea and they're like, well, we like the concept, but we're gonna do instead of Frankenstein, we're gonna do Godzilla. So you kind of see like the Frankenstein tropes with Kong, especially with the lightning abilities. Like, I never thought about that. I never thought about that as a young child. Like, I was like, oh, that's so cool. But then when I find out this years on, I'm like, okay, now that makes sense.
Powerful electricity. That makes total sense. And I've never knew that. So I'm glad you told me that. I learned something. That's very cool. And they ended up doing Frankenstein meets Baragon or versus Baragon, which is Frankenstein conquers the world. So hey, everybody wins.
Yeah. Which was there's a lot of history with this film and leading to the future. Because then after this one, then the next sequel would have been Frankenstein versus Godzilla. And then they're like, okay, well, this is basically on par with the same film that we just did. So let's just swap opponents. So Mothra and Godzilla go at it, and then Frankenstein gets a new kaiju within Baragon. And
Baragon's a great suit. They used it a lot, like an Ultraman and stuff. They redid a new head for it, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
It's a great suit. Anyway, we digress.
Yeah.
As we like to say on the show, Kong and Godzilla go at it. We get the battle of the century. This is what we signed up for. This is what we came and bought popcorn for. Great battle. Another iconic moment it's coming up in a minute. Kong gets flipped over by Godzilla. He gets one burst of strength, but unfortunately Godzilla kicks him again here and knocks him back down. He hits his head on a rock. Now, if you look carefully on the right-hand part of the screen, you'll see where the face of the King Kong suit got damaged. They shot it from two angles, and a rock hits him right in the snout and damaged the mask. And that's one of the reasons why King Kong escapes. The face is a little different. It's because they had to do the mask. They had to redo it. They had to fix it up. So Godzilla starts to roast around him with the fire, but a lightning storm comes, and Sakurai tells the other guy, Faru, "Oh, good, a lightning storm. Kong gets strong with lightning."
Yep.
I'm thinking Frankenstein now. Now that you said that, I'm thinking,
yeah,
Frankenstein gets strong with lightning.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Again, as a child, I never thought twice about it. I was like, "Oh, okay, this is cool." And then when you find this out, you're like, "Oh, okay, now I see where that comes from."
Makes total sense. So yeah, the lightning strikes him, and Kong's face turns blue as he gains strength. And here's the scene I was talking about. He picks up a tree and shoves it down, tries to shove it down Godzilla's throat. Again, one of the scenes that a lot of kids, he flips him around here too. That's the other iconic scene. Yep. Kids loved that when we saw this fight.
Yeah.
I remember just going gaga over this particular scene right here and him flipping him around by his tail. So Kong gets the upper hand because of the lightning.
Yep.
Godzilla uses atomic breath to spit the tree out. And not just spit the tree out, but onto Kong's chest. He's like, that's it. The gloves are off.
God, I still can't believe he managed to pull that. And they actually did it with the suit actor inside the Godzilla suit. There was no wires, there was no nothing. So he just he's like, I'm good. I guess the two had a little beef with each other. Nothing serious, but the Kong suit actor wanted to show how strong he was. So he's like, okay, and they based it on professional wrestling. So he's like, okay, I want you to charge at me, and I'm gonna just do this
judo flip.
And we're gonna see if it works. And sure enough, dude, one take. They're like, "Yep, perfect. Keep it."
Man,
wow.
Oh man, poor Nakajima-san.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What?
I thought I heard somebody start. They were gonna make a comment. I'm sorry.
No. I'm just making random noises now.
They did that again in Godzilla's Revenge with Gavra. They did a big, huge flip. But I think the suit was like filled with foam or something. It was.
Yeah, they definitely were like we're not doing that again. So we're just gonna make it a little easier on the suit actor.
That hurts.
Yeah.
So let's use the dummy instead.
Yeah.
I always liked the Gavra suit too. A lot of people bust on it, but I always liked it. I was always hoping they would bring him back in a real film where he was a real villain and not just some kid's imagination thing. Anyway, so here is them videotaping the fight between the two puppets. One of my favorite scenes is the two little puppets fighting over the trees. I love that. It's like watching this.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Careful not to scratch those. Oh, that's Monarch calling.
Uh-oh.
Yay. Yes,
Yes.
I'll be
I
there.
saw the show.
What time?
You heard it here, folks. She has answered the call to Monarch. It's
Yep.
going out right now.
This is a famous building on the coast of Japan. I can't remember the name of it.
Osaka Castle Fortress.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
And again, Kong busts through a giant Godzilla burst of flames, and they just go to town on this poor castle and just tear it up. There it is. Another iconic moment that we all love. And they did this on purpose. They used to do it to make people in Japan laugh during these films because they all know these places. They're getting destroyed. So the two go into the drink, and folks, there never was a second ending. Okay, Godzilla was the villain. He had to lose. They go into the drink. There's an earthquake. So you assume that Godzilla got buried under the water somehow. And Kong comes up and swims back to Faroe Island because he knows that Godzilla is finished. He's done. So there was never a film. They never filmed a scene where Godzilla came up and ended and won. I'm sorry, but that was a myth that they perpetuated over the years, that there were two endings. And I don't know who started it, but it's been debunked so many times. There's the earthquake.
I can't remember what the title was, but it was some like Godzilla book that I would read, as like sixth grade. I remember seeing the book in my childhood, and I read that. And then back when the internet became new, I just kept looking it up. Like, it's a double ending true? Is double ending true? Nope. The only difference is the audio. That's all it was. So in the Japanese, you get both roars, but in the American, they're like, let's take out Godzilla. Let's just put Kong as the winner.
Right. So, and Godzilla would return for Mothra versus Godzilla. And again, the good guy always gets the first billing in those movies. Mothra versus Godzilla. In America, they changed the titles, I mean, Godzilla versus the Thing. Because I guess the American distributor didn't want it to know that it was Mothra that was fighting Godzilla. So they kind of kept it a secret. Yeah. What is the Thing, I mean, in Tokyo, it was fine. I mean, Japan, it was fine. They knew Mothra and they knew Godzilla and they were cool with it. But there's Kong swimming his way back to Faroe Island, where he gets a steady daily juice and party. I don't see Godzilla. Kong's heading home. And Eric Carter wishes him well in the American version. And we get a nice little flourish at the end. Yeah. And that's King Kong versus Godzilla, the original.
Yep.
Or not the original, but the 1963 version of the original. The Americanized version. So, all right. Well, thank you so much, Ramon, Kaiju.Kombat, for joining us. Thank you so much, Linda. It was always a delight to chat with you and talk about these movies with you. Again, I do hope Monarch does call.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm waiting to hear that good news.
Let's make it happen.
If they did, you'd hear it all over. You could hear me screaming with joy wherever you live.
And we will certainly invite you to come back to talk about King Kong Escapes when we do it.
Super, I guess thank you.
About 6 weeks down the line, maybe. We got a couple movies to hit before then, but yeah, we're definitely looking forward to that too. Always a good time.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I don't know if you can see me. I've got something on. Anyway, thank you so much, Roy. You're looking good. I'm glad you are doing well. And nice to meet both of you.
No, the honor is all mine. Thank you so much again.
It's our pleasure.
All right, guys. Yep. Okay.
Wallnott, thank you as always. And Anastasia, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everybody, keep watching those kaiju films.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe. Thanks.